In this tutorial, you will learn what you need to know about the Spring AOP. Spring Aspect-Oriented Programming is a powerful feature of the Spring framework that allows developers to address cross-cutting concerns such as logging, security, and transaction management. Spring Aspect-Oriented Programming allows developers to modularize these concerns in a clean and elegant way by using Spring AOP. You can separate business logic from system service, resulting in more modular and maintainable code. It is a powerful technique supported by inversion of control aspect away the framework intercept method calls and possibly alters the execution of method to perform some extra action at the time of method initialization or destroy. Logging, caching, security monitoring, and validation are common aspects in Spring AOP. Here, as you can see, these represent a program execution. We have this point code and a join point. A join point, that is the specific point at the program execution, while the point code which method the framework need to be intercept and execute. Key concept of Spring AOP. Let's start with the aspect. Aspect away a framework intercept method call. Aspect can be implemented using regular classes or annotation. We have join point, the specific point at the program execution, such as the execution of a method or the handling of an exception. In Spring AOP, a join point always represents a method execution. A point code which method the framework need to intercept and execute, that is a point code. Advice, action taken by an aspect at a particular join point. Okay, so we have different types of advice. We have around advice executed around a join point, allowing to control method execution and result. We have before advice executed before a join point. We have after advice which execute after a join point. We have after returning advice executed after a join point. In this video, you will learn using the around advice in the Spring AOP. Here we have the Maven project, and you can see we added the dependency for the Spring context. So we need to add another dependency for the aspect, that is Spring AOP. For this, let's go to the browser and look for the aspect Maven dependency. We have the first link. Okay, so that is Maven repository. You can see here is the latest version. Okay, so we copy this to our pom.xml. So let's paste this and save the project. Okay, here we have the dependency for the Spring aspect. Okay, you see it is building, that is 75%. Okay, so let's go to the app.java. Inside the app.java, you can see we have the instance of the config application context, that is our Spring context. And in the app config, we declared the add configuration annotation, and we also have the add component scan, which scan all the stereotype annotation that we will have. Now we will start with the model, that is the data transfer object. So let's create an image for the model. Okay, new package and name this model. Model. So inside this, we will create a new class, and the class will be user. So here we have the user. Let's have a field private int id, and then we need a private string username. Okay, so let's generate a getters and setters for this. Generate getters and setters, select all, generate. Okay, so the next thing we will create is that we need to create a service class where we will define a method that will be intercepted, okay, by the Spring aspect. So let's create a new package again and name this user service. Okay, and inside this we will create a new class that is user service. New class user service. Okay, so inside this class we will have the method that will be intercepted by the Spring AOP. We will define the aspect class. So let's have a public void safe user. This will have the parameter of the user. Okay, so and this will have, let's have a logger that we will log the user that is from this method. So logger equal to logger.get logger followed by the user service dot class dot get name. Okay, so and inside this we will have a logger dot info and all pass saving user, and we provide the user, we concatenate with the user dot get username plus with id, then get the id again for the user dot get id. Okay, so saving the user plus the username and then with id, then the id of the user. So this method we will use the Spring aspect to intercept this method. Okay, now before then let's get the reference to this in the Spring context. So we need to add this to the Spring context using the add component, and then go to the app.java, get the reference service user service. Before then let's have the user equal to new user dot set id 1, user dot set username aliu. Okay, so and we will get the reference to the user service class in the Spring context. User service equal to context dot get bin by type, that is user service dot class. So we will call this method, that is save user service dot, here it is save user, and pass this user that we just create. Okay, so remember we are passing the our app config to the constructor, that is to the as parameter in the annotation config application context. Okay, so let's save the changes inside the user service so that we don't have this error. Okay, so let's test before adding the aspect, before starting the implementation for the aspect. So it works fine. Okay, now let's have the implementation for the aspect. Okay, so we need to go to the app config first and enable the aspect using the enable aspect j auto proxy. Okay, so we need to create a new class that will intercept the method. Okay, so and this first, let's create a package to have the, that is the package aspect, and inside this we will create a new class and let name it service monitor. That is the aspect that will monitor our service class or service package. So we need to first have this as the Spring bin and then annotate it with aspect, that is it is the aspect. So using the @around, we need to define the method that will intercept this. Okay, @around followed by our point code. Okay, so now the point code, we use the aspect j expression language. So let me copy this from here, and you can copy it and have the name for your package. Okay, to get the name for your package, you will go to the user service, and you can see here is what we have, coding techniques service. Okay, so here in the service monitor you can paste this, and this is our point code. We are defining where the method, it will find the method that it will be intercepted. Okay, this means that the intercepted method must be in the service package. Okay, and we also have this star. The first star means the intercepted method may have any return type, and we have the second one, which means that the intercepted method can be in any class. We also have this one, which means that the intercepted method can have any name, and we also have this, which means the intercepted method can have any parameter. So let's define the method, and the method will be, let's say, a public void for this and call it log. We pass the parameter, that is proceeding join point followed by join point, like this. Okay, so let's define the logic here. So we will use this join point to call, that is to call this method, that is our method in the user service, by calling the proceed. This method we are calling the save user. Okay, so and this will throw an exception let add throws declaration. Okay, so we use around advice to intercept the method, and we can, using the around, we will print something before the method execute and as well and as after the method is executed. Okay, so let's define a logger here that we will print something logger. Okay, so let's print something before the method is executed, and after we call the method, that is after the execution of the method, we need to print something again and we will check to see how it works. So logger dot info, so I just write before the method execute. Okay, and let right after the method executed. Okay, so by having these, now we will have the method being intercepted by our log method. Okay, so let's print this, and you can see, so you see we have this before the method is executed, and we also have this after the method is executed, and you can see we have the method save user here. Okay, that is, we have the before the method execute and after the method execute. So we have successfully intercept the save user and print the something that is before the execution of the method and after the execution of the method. Okay, so that is not only what we can achieve with this. Let's try the example that is similar to the real world, that is real world scenario. So let's call this method monitor performance. Now we need to calculate the method, we need to calculate the time that it takes for the method to be executed. Let's name it monitor performance. Monitor performance. Okay, so and for this, let's call, we use the, that is along, and call this start time equal to system dot current millis. Okay, and let's duplicate this here and call this end time. So here we set it execution time for the method is okay plus, then we minus the start time in the end time minus start time. Okay, so here we provide the monitor performance method that will monitor how it takes for our safe user to be executed, that is the time. Okay, now we can print this. Let open this. Okay, you can see execution time for the method is 188, that is millisecond, and here we have successfully intercept the method again. Okay, so we also have way to express this. Okay, that is the point code. We will decide to define a method. Let's call this public, like p1, and public void, public void p1, and at point code, then let's add this point code here. But we need to add it within. Okay, so now instead of using this expression, we can use this method, since this method represent the expression that we have here. Okay, so let's try to add this method like this. We will just call the method p1. Okay, so let's save the changes and try to run again. Okay, you can see the execution time for the method is 205 again. Okay, that is how we can alternatively express our point code. Okay, so this is what we have with the @around. See you in the next video. In the previous video, you learned how to use the @around advice to intercept a method. In this video, you will learn how to intercept the method parameter and as well as the return value. Okay, so now let's remove this, and as well we need to remove this. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to get the method, that is parameter, and we will get this using the join point. So let's name these parameters equal to join point dot get arc. Okay, so we have this. By this it will get the method parameter. Okay, so now the next thing, let's have the logger dot info, and we will also get the method name. That is, let's get the method name, string name, method name equal to join point dot get signature dot get name. Okay, so here by doing this we get the method name. Okay, we also get the method parameter using the get arc. So now what we will do, let's set the method followed by the name of the method plus the method name plus, let's set with parameter plus. Okay, so let's have this inside the arrays dot as list pass the parameters here. Okay, so and have concatenate it again with plus, then right is about to execute. Okay, that is the method followed by the name with parameter, that is the parameter is about to execute. Okay, so what about the return value? The call here that we did will return the return value of the method. So let's store it on the object and call the variable name as return value equal to, that is the join point dot proceed. When we make the call, it will have the return value. Okay, so on the next thing, let's have the logger here, logger dot info, and let's have the method plus the method name. So plus executed. Now it is executed. And the return value is, then all have the return value here. Okay, so here we define if the method name with the parameter so is about to execute, and now we define after the method is executed. Okay, now remember our method in the user service doesn't have a return type. Now let's make it string and return save successfully. Save successfully. Okay, so we have the return type. Now we will see that save successfully if we run. And let's go back to the user, that is service monitor. This will return the return value, return the return value. Okay, let's save these changes, and we need to concatenate this here. Okay, so this is okay. So here is this method, and let's change the name of the method from the monitor performance, since that the works of the method has changed. And now let's name it the log, just log. Okay, so let's print as you have. Okay, so here we have the method save user. As you can see, we get the method name, that is the method save user here with parameter. So the parameter is of type user, that is the parameter of the method is type of user, is about to execute. Okay, so and after the method executed here, we have another, that is the print line that we have here. The method save user executed and return value is saved successfully. That is the return value. Okay, so this is what we have here, and in the next video you will learn at before and after advice. Hi, in the last video you learn how to use the at around advice, and you also learn how to alter and intercept the method parameter and as well as the return value. And in this tutorial you will learn how to use at before and after advice. Okay, so let's delete this and have the we will start with the at before advice, and we will pass our p1, that is the point code. Okay, so let's define the method public void monitor execution before, monitor execution before. Okay, and we will set this logger dot info, and let me write execution is about to begins. Okay, so now when before the method start the execution, then we will know that the method is about to execute using the add before. Okay, let's save these changes and run. It will inform us that it is about to execute. Okay, you can see we have these from the service monitor execution before, that is the method info, execution is about to begins. Okay, and we can, after the execution is about to begins, you can see our method is executed. So now we can use at after advice, again, change the method, change the name, executed, the method executed. Okay, so let's save changes, that it will print this immediately after the method has finished the execution. Okay, now let's run this. You can see the method is executed. Okay, so and here is the method, that is the call for the method. So this is what you learn here, that is the after and before advice. See you in the next video. In the previous video you learn about the at after and at before advice, and in this video you will learn about the at after returning. We have the at after like this, after, and we also have the at after returning. The difference between the after and the after returning is that this will execute even after if the method that we are looking for, even if the method does not return successfully, that is, even if the method throws an exception. But for this after returning, it will only work if the method successfully executed without throwing an exception. Okay, so let's work on this. At after returning, here it is, and let's have this. We set this as value, that is our point Q1, our point code, and we also need to have the returning. We call this return value. Okay, let's have an object here and name this return value as well. Okay, so I will set the method executed successfully a return that is plus return value. Okay, you can see the power of the Spring AOP. It will get access to the return value. Okay, so here let's name this monitor execution success. Let's name the method monitor execution success. The method executed successfully and return. Here we have the return value. Okay, so let's try to run this. Okay, you can see we have the method executed successfully and return safe successfully, and that is what the method is returning inside the user service. It is returning safe successfully. So what if we have that is exception? It throws an exception. So let's have a condition and set if the user equal to null, then we throw the illegal argument exception. Throw illegal argument exception. Sorry, we need a new here, new illegal argument exception. So let's save these changes. Go to the app. In the app, okay, here is the app. Let's pass null instead of the user. Okay, so let's save and print this. Okay, you can see it throws an exception and we have no message. There is no any message from our interceptor method, but once we pass the user here, we can see the method. That means that it only executes when it is successful, when the method does not throw an exception. You can see save successfully. Okay, that is the returning advice. See you in the next video. In the last video, you learned the after returning, where we said that it executes if the method executed successfully without the exception. We also have the after throwing, that is, in this case it only executes when the method that we are intercepting throws an exception. So let's have this and see. We have at after throwing. Okay, so we need a change this to point code, and we need to change this to throwing, and let name this X, and we need to change the parameter to the for this to exception EX. Okay, and let's change the message as well, and the message for this will be exception is count. Okay, and let's have the message for this ex dot get message. Okay, so we have to equal to here. So let's save these changes. Okay, now that the method is not throwing an exception, we will not have any message. Okay, you can see we only have the method that is saving user call that we call in the app. So now let's go to the user, that is the app, and pass null here. Remember, if you pass null here inside the user service, it will throw an illegal argument exception. Okay, and in the service monitor you can see our method does not throw any, does not execute. So let's change this to monitor exception. I forget exception, monitor exception. So let's try to run this now. You can see we have the exception and the method it executed. The exception is count, that is null pointer exception. Okay, so we are having null here because we did not pass the message to the illegal argument exception. Let's go to the user service and have the input is null. You can see we will have the message the input is null from our service monitor, that is the interceptor. You see we have the input is null, it intercepted, that is because the method throws the exception. Okay, now this is what we have so far, and see you in the next video. In this video you will learn how to intercept annotated method with the Spring AOP aspect. Okay, first let's create a new package. We will provide a custom annotation for this work. Okay, so let's call this package custom, and that is custom annotation in short. And inside this, let's create a new interface and call it intercepted. Okay, by providing need to have at before the interface, that is we are using it as the annotation. So first of all we need to provide the retention policy for this method, that is retention policy dot runtime. retention policy runtime enables the annotation to be intercepted at a runtime, and we also need to provide the at target. For the at target, we will choose the element type dot method. That is it restricts this annotation to only to be used on the method. Okay, we have the intercepted annotation, that is the new annotation that we will use for this work. Then let's go to the user service. You see we have a single method here, and we said that we need to use only on the annotated. That is, if we annotate the method with the at intercepted. Okay, so let's provide a two method here for the clarification. Let name this delete user, and we change this to deleting user, and this to deleted successfully. Okay, so that is fine. And let's go to the app. We call the new method user service dot deleted user service dot deleted, that is delete user. We pass the user to the method. Okay, before having our aspect that will intercept this one of this method, let's run this now and see what we have. Okay, you can see we have saving user and deleting user. Okay, that is fine. And first, let's go to the user service. We need to annotate either of this one with the new annotation at intercepted. Let's add it to the delete user. Okay, in the service monitor, we will create a new aspect. Okay, and we will use the at return and after return. So we pass the value. The value here is our, that is point code. Okay, so let me leave the value for now, and I will have the returning, that is return value. Okay, since that we are using the annotation, we will not longer use this. Okay, so let's use the at annotation, and in the parameter we will pass the address to this. We have these coding techniques, that is our interface. So let's go to the service monitor. We need to paste this here and also access the intercepted. Okay, to avoid error in the typing, we just copy it, go back to the service monitor, so paste this here. That is fine. Okay, now we define this. Let's define the method. Okay, so let's have a public void, and I will name this monitor success. That is, if the method runs successfully, we will have object of type return. We will have object with the variable return value. Okay, so and here we will use our logger dot info and have the message here. The method is executed successfully and So we'll concatenate it with the return value. So okay, that is totally fine. And in the user service, you can see we annotate this, only the delete user. So let's run this application and see. Okay, you can see it only work on the method is executed successfully and return deleted successfully. Okay, now let's change this to that our implementation works successfully. Now let's try to annotate on the safe user and try to run it to see. You can see the difference that we have. The method is executed successfully and return safe successfully. Okay, that is how we use the notation for the intercept method intercepting in the Spring AOP.